again the absolute error, and then shift 6, give it a little up caret, 2. I'm raising it to the second power. And so that's my squared error there. Whoops. So I got the corner, and I just drag it down. And as Romano points out, I can double click on it. In this case, I did it old school. Drag that guy over. And this is my MSE, mean squared error. And if you look around, they actually use this a lot, like in signal processing. You know, like stereo equipment or communications, signal-to-noise ratios, that type of stuff. They use it in the internet in terms of drop packets and things like that, or corrupted packets. And it tends to be more sensitive because we're squaring this and it's pretty big. Right, so here is our measure of goodness, our measure of fit, for the very naive approach of, we're just going to take last month and it'll be this month. Okay, everybody follow me so far? I'm going to control copy this. I'll go down to this, and I'll hit Control V, and I'll print it, because we're going to do a second approach. And we're going to keep the month, and we're going to keep the sales, but what we're going to do is we're going to wipe out at least the naive thing. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a 3-month moving average. So 3-month moving average. 3-mo-ma. It's like yo-yo ma, right? By the way, totally random story. I was on the plane with Yo-Yo Ma once. If you don't know who Yo-Yo Ma is, you're a bigger barbarian than I am. He's like the world's best cellist. And I was flying the shuttle from New York City to, from Boston to New York. And he got on with the cello, and he put it in the seat next to him, and it had like a blue, fiberglass case. Why would he have that? Because that cello is worth like $6 million, okay? It's a Stradivarius cello, you know, it's just one of the best cellos in the world. And one of the stewardesses comes unglued on the man, says, "Sir, you're going to have to check that." And everybody's looking at him like, "You're an idiot. That's a $6 million cello. You think he's going to check that? I would have it chained to my wrist." And he said, "Well, no, actually it's okay. I purchased a ticket. See, here's a ticket for me, ticket for the cello." And I do this all the time. I take this flight like twice a week. "No, sir, it's against policy." "Well, no, really, check with your gate agent. She'll explain to you it's okay, you know. And I know this might be new to you, but it'll all work out. Really, this is okay." The guy was totally chill. In my opinion, his stock just kept going up, up, up. Stewardess is now screaming at the guy, "You have to get this out of here. It has to go under. It's a safety thing." And I'm thinking, oh man, you're such an idiot. You don't realize who you're talking to. He's being really nice. And everybody on the plane knows who he is, and they all know you're a moron. And he said, please, go get your gate agent. She'll explain it to you." So she stomps off, comes back with the gate agent, who says, "Yes, I'd like to introduce you to Yo-Yo Ma. He's probably the best cellist in the world, and he does this all the time. So he has a ticket for the cello. And by the way, it's worth like $6 million. I wouldn't check this cello." "Oh, Mr. Ma, I'm so sorry." And you can just see that coming. And our flight was delayed 10 minutes, and because somebody didn't know their musical performers. Okay? But, yeah, it just kind of works out that way. All right. I went over and I didn't want to go over. And I don't even have a thing so I can go back. Okay, so here we have not Yo-Yo Ma, but 3-mo-ma. The 3-month moving average. That is where the story started. I'll always bring you back home. And I think 3-mo-ma is like his cousin. And he plays the trumpet. Okay, so to get this, I'm going to say equals Okay, I'm averaging those 3 months. Hit enter. I'm actually going to get rid of these guys here because I don't need them. So I will right click and I will say clear contents. And I go over to this and I drag it down. Okay, so, and then I'm going to have to do my things again here. So equals average for my absolute deviation. And I'm going to drag that over here. So does this give me a better forecast? And if so, why do you say it's better? What evidence do you have?
What did you do with the absolute error?
I just did the average, but for the smaller thing. See, I'm only going from month 4 to 12. So I had to recalculate the average because I got rid of these 2 months up there. So I just said equals average, open parentheses, I went here and I dragged up to there, close parentheses, enter. Yes?
I say it does because if you compare that with the previous numbers up on the top.
So which numbers are you looking at?
The MATE and MSC.
Okay?
If you look at those, or at least, well, yeah, you're see the percent way. Your error percent and your error amount is your squared error amount is lower.
Okay. Does everybody agree with what he said?
Yeah, and also I made a map of the again. I just plotted the diagram, and it shows different.
Right, so let's take a look at our little plot here. So we're going to say insert, we're going to have our line chart, and this is kind of interesting here. Okay, the red line is the forecast. Now if we go up here and we plot again, let's just go and do these. So I can compare, insert, line, 2D line. What do you notice about the red line in the top one? Is it jiggly? That's a very technical term, jiggly. And a really stupid movie starring Dan Aykroyd. Right? Yeah, it's as erratic as the blue line, which is our actual data, which was generated by a random number generator. So it should be pretty random. And this one is just as random, it's just offset by a month. Now look down here. Okay, our blue line is just as jiggly, just as random, just as erratic. What's happening to the red one?
Smoothed out.
It's smoothing. The ups are canceling out the downs. Okay, so it's giving us a more nuanced, I guess, maybe a smoothed out approach to doing this. Now, does it follow the general direction? Yeah, it kind of does. It still lags a bit, but you notice here is actually a little higher, and then going down, and then it starts to go up here, and then it starts to pick up. Okay, if we did this for a lot of months, we would notice that it would move a lot more smoothly, and the line would be far less erratic using our 3-month moving average. Now, we could do a 2-month moving average. It's a little more responsive, a little more erratic. We could do a 6-month moving average. That might be so smooth that there's not so much value to it. But right now, what we're noticing is, as was pointed out, it has a lower MAD, it has a lower MATE, it has a lower MSE. So we would conclude, based on that the 3-month moving average was the superior technique between these two, between the naive approach and the 3-month moving average. Now, tragically, in many business settings, people don't even bother to use the most simplistic approach because the moving average is pretty simple. And as a result, they're just guessing. Finger in the air, figure it out. So let me take control of your screen again, and then we'll look at some of the, oh, it's over here. It's not opening. There we go. Okay, and we'll go out and take a look at some of our slides here. So we ended ended up looking at these 7 steps in forecasting last time. And the big one being, the very start, what are you going to use this for? Now, in reality, most people don't do forecasting, or they do it very poorly. And they struggle with budgeting. I'll tell you a secret. When I was the dean here, I had some other deans say, yeah, the budget's going to be really hard. I thought, wow, that's not been my experience in industry. Once you figure out how to budget, it's pretty straightforward. And this place is even easier than industry because there's not as much change. It's a constant place. And so I figured out how many faculty I have, and I figured out how much they have to have in terms of travel and this and that. So I used all these keys, and I multiplied, and I came up with a budget. And, you know, I was done in a couple of days, and some of my colleagues go, how'd you come up with that so fast? And I thought, well, you really don't know any tools, do you? Now, these are really smart people, but they have very few quantitative tools. And we might as well be speaking in Sumerian with the amount of understanding that was coming over. So you are way ahead of the game by knowing some tools and retaining them. But no matter where they come from, forecasts are rarely perfect. And there are some underlying assumptions. One is that the system is inherently stable. Okay? Or at least there's an underlying stability. There will be ups and downs, but it's not erratic. Now, if you looked at the stock market recently, would you say that that's a valid assumption? The Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's all over the place. No one knows what's happening. There's no long-term trend right now. There's nothing. It's crazy down from one day to the next. And you know, I've just given up worrying about all my 401ks and retirement fund. I'm just going to be working at Walmart, or, you know, I'll buy a little farm in Idaho and grow onions and potatoes. And have it go. You know, I've got to have it go. Goat cheese. Grow a beard. You know, live up there in the mountains. Try to pretend I'm Papa Hemingway or something. But, because I can't predict anything anymore. So you have to be self-sufficient. The other issue is, when we aggregate, we are better off. So I spoke last time about coming up with a forecast for Coke sales. I'm better off forecasting the soft drink market. And if I can't do that, and then cut it down to colas and diet, non-diet, etc., at least I should do colas. And then break out between diet and non-diet. In this case, it's non-diet, and then I look at Coca-Cola's market share. I'm better off taking this and cascading down to that than to try to forecast Coke's real numbers. The reason being, there's some smoothing going on. I'm looking at a much more aggregate phenomenon when I look at soft drink sales, and I'm able to avoid some of the erratic up and downs that might be happening if I was trying to directly predict Coca-Cola sales. So in a lot of real-life cases, they will come up with numbers going from that direction. You know, from the big to the small, from the general to the specific. The easiest way to get started is with the qualitative methods. Sometimes these are the only ones that people can use. And so, you know, in some cases it's the only thing you can do. If you have a new product, there's a new technology, you're probably going to come up with a qualitative forecast because you don't have any quantitative data. Think for a moment about this new product coming out, the Amazon Kindle Fire, which is a stupid name. You know, I'm a caveman. I'm making fire. Okay. You know, come up with some other name. But they call it the Fire. So, now, yes, we could be looking at, we already know how the Kindle works, and we might have some historical information. But this new one is quite different. It's bigger. I think it's color, isn't it? And it's you know, G3, Wi-Fi enabled, and it actually behaves almost like a tablet.